Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Give me a few minutes. Let more people come on in, and let me make sure that our setup is good and ready to go. Give me a few minutes, and we will be starting as soon as we're ready to go. Let me let me play some music in the meantime. Let me play some music for you as we're waiting. We are just about to start. Come on in, come on in. Give me a few more minutes to make sure we are all set and technology is all set up. We are live. Okay. Few more seconds before we start. Welcome, 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 and thank you for being here. All right, welcome to another wonderful Winning Wednesday. It's always a pleasure to wrap up my Wednesday by being here and sharing a few business insights with our community. It's always great to have the opportunity to come in and have conversations with other business owners. I believe it's important to just learn from others. I don't think there's anyone out there who can say, listen, I have arrived and I know it all. I know the ins and outs, and I don't believe that I can learn anything from anyone. I think we always are learning, we are always getting different perspectives from other people. And as business owners, I genuinely believe it's important to network or have collaborations or have conversations with other business owners so that we are constantly learning. But before we start our day, Lee is supposed to be joining us. He will probably join us as soon as he's done or wraps up his other call. But thank you for being here. Thank you for always joining in on time. We appreciate the support. We appreciate you being here. And before we start as well, for those of you who have sent in questions and those questions have not been answered as yet, I'd like for you to use today's session to send in one or two questions that we can answer live on the session. I I have answered, I believe, all the questions that were emailed, but if I may have missed your question, today's the great day to put in those questions on the chat, and I will address any of those questions that are being asked. All right. All right, so today, one of the things that I was looking to have conversations with is on consistency. What does consistency look like for your business? And I say this because for most of us as business owners, if we do not do or if we do not have processes that we have assigned people to, and those processes are being followed or are being acted on, chances are everything stops, right? So, consistency for a business owner could be making sure that you are making calls to potential clients every single day. It could be making sure that you deliver your orders as and when they're supposed to be done. So there is always some level of consistency that comes with being a business owner. And I think even in just generally in just life, some of you may know or may follow my my health journey where without consistency, it's very difficult to see or to get any rewards or any results. So consistency is very important even in the business. One of the things that I think last week we touched a little bit on this was that we were traveling and we had just come in at home. We had been driving for what, maybe 4.5 hours, and we were debating whether we should still continue having our this session. And part of that was that do we still do the session or do we not? However, because part of what we do and part of our nature is that we have to be consistent in what we were doing. And consistency means or also implies showing up. Whether I'm feeling a little bit uneasy on that day or I'm feeling a little bit, don't feel like doing it. We all have those days where you're like, oh, today I don't really feel like doing it. However, as business owners, consistency, consistency is what's going to get us results. So we are consistent whether we don't feel like it on that day. We know there are processes or there are things within the business that without fail we have to do these because it's another way of us ensuring that we are setting our business up for great things or for greater rewards. Welcome, Lee. We missed you. I cannot hear you. Are you there?
After doing this for so long, you would figure that I would always know to make sure that the button wasn't pressed,
Mm,
right? So, no, I was just a little bit late having a conversation with a client, and I was like, sir, I have to go. And they had more questions, and I was like, sir, I have to go.
yeah.
But what we have here is the nostrum rules, right? Where the customer at the end of the day is always going to be right. So I stuck it out with that customer, and hopefully they will move forward with building out their business credit, because one of the things that I'm finding is that there is so much misinformation in the world about what this is. There's so
Yeah.
much misinformation. So, I don't pretend to be a truth teller, right? Although I have to be, but I don't know everything that there is to know about all of this, but I
Mm,
am taking a methodical process to learn more and more and more and more about this. That's why last week we were having a conversation about the SBSS, Small Business Scoring Service, right? Because I wanted to know, well, what is all of this information about this small business scoring service? And I learned that it was a service that is actually used to, it's used by the financing. institution or the funding sources that look at both your credit profile as well as your personal score to determine whether or not if they're going to loan to you, right?
Mm-hmm.
You want to start out with just your EIN and make sure that your EIN is as strong as possible. Your corporate credit profile is as strong as possible, such that you don't need to pull your personal credit score and provide a personal guarantee. But that's not always going to be the case. So as we learn more information about this thing called business credit, we are also sharing it with our community because it's not like we have on rose colored glasses and believe that everything is going to be hunky dory. No, we know at the same time that this is going to be a learning process. And as small business owners, as we grow, we share with our community as little bits and pieces that we learn. And hopefully everyone grows from that.
Definitely. And building your business credit or establishing your business credit, it's a process. It's not, you know, a lot of times I have conversations with others who say, can I start today and within a month or two I'll be in a good space where I can now qualify for different lines of credit. And no, it doesn't work like that, right? There has to be that consistency where you continue doing what you need or feeding the systems so that you look great also on paper. And that means you following on your commitments as a business, whether it's making sure that whenever you have any bills to be paid, you pay within the required times. And that has to build up over time to show that there is consistency and that this is someone that can be trusted because there's a track record, right? And just as I was saying when we started before you came in, and I was talking about that consistency that as business owners we have to we have to be consistent in the things that we do for our businesses to ensure our continuity, right? So you
Mhm.
in a position where you say, I would love to make sure that I build a sound business credit for my business, right? That's going to happen over time. You're going to have to be consistent in doing those very things that are going to move your business credit from one level to the next, and that can only happen through you doing what you're supposed to be doing and being consistent, being paying your bills on time, ensuring that you do what needs to be done for the business to be able to generate income so that you're able to meet your financial obligations, right? It takes time, it takes commitment, it takes a lot of will. You have to want it. It's not just going to happen, and you have to choose every day to choose your business and say, I'm going to do these things for my business. And reach out to other business owners, either who have successfully been able to establish their own business credit and now have access to many different sources of funding or different sources of where they can get finances from, whether it's lines of credit or whether it's credit cards. Reach out to people like that, reach out to companies that do this business, but take the time to learn, understand how it works, so that when you jump on or when you do make that decision to start building that business credit for yourself or for your business, you know what you're doing. There's nothing, I believe, there's nothing as demoralizing as wanting to start something and you jump on to try and do it. However, because you didn't do prior research, you are easily misled. So
Well, a fool and his money is always separated,
that's the thing.
right? A fool and his money is always separated. And the
Hmm.
one thing that I would say in all of this is that there's a lot of information. Like here you are being a steward, right? you are saying, I am going to do this the right way,
Yeah.
right? But then you reach out or you're on a social media platform and you hear that, someone's going to give you $250,000 using your EIN number, and that is possible,
Mm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Why would anyone ever give you $250,000 using your EIN number if they aren't guaranteed that you're going to pay it back? But if you're in the business of loaning money, you got to not only get back the principal, but you also have to get back the interest as well.
Yep.
I don't know how you square that hole, right? But if you are following that model, right? You are following that model, and that's something that is presented to you. You might say to yourself, I don't want to go the slow track. And the slow track is not really a slow track, because in working with different clients, we have seen clients get access to lines of credit, credit cards, etc., 25, $30,000 in 30 days,
Yeah.
because they worked on a structured process and they also had the business coaching that went along with that.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what people actually needed to do. But I get it. I get that, hey, if you are being fed this bit of information that this is possible in this short duration of time, right? Let's go and do that. Yeah, I get it.
Mm.
But I want to let others know that, hey, you got an enormous amount of time, right? Or you can get it done quickly. The process that we're selling is, if you take a structured process and not get bits and pieces of information from over here, over here, over there, somewhere else, you will be able to meet that destination that you have for yourself that much quicker. Now, if you can do what would have normally taken you 12 months or 24 months, and now you can do it in 3 months, what do you do with all of that other time besides be able to invest it in your business, and then your business is able to accelerate that much further?
Yeah.
Those are the people who we are saying, come to us. Come to us, we will work with you. Come to us, we will work with you. Come to us, we will work with you. So I'm going to update the QR code so that they could see where this is, where VIP Biz Funds is, right? And we're not just offering business credit building. We're also offering access to different lines of funding. There's business revenue funding, right? There's accounts receivable funding, right? There are so many different ways that you could get uh, funding in the name of your business. You just got to talk to someone who knows how that actually happens and what you need to do in order to get there.
Yeah.
So,
One of the things also is that with this type of funding is that um, if we do not have the type of funding that you may need, we will refer you out if we know another vendor that may be able to assist you, right? What we are really looking to do on this platform is to make sure that as business owners, one, you are educated and knowledgeable about what is available out there. Two, we help you establish what I would say is the backbone so that when you do go out there, even if it's with commercial lenders or wherever you may go, you have that foundation so that when they do run your credit and they do run or review your paperwork, you stand a better opportunity of you getting funding. So, you've got nothing to lose if you are a business owner and you have an interest or a desire in growing your business, but you need more funding. You have nothing to lose by reaching out to say, okay, I'm interested in this. How do I even start? What does it mean for my business? How does it look like for my business? Then we can start it from there where we can educate you a little bit more. We can share with you our experiences. We can show you how we've done it and help you to get started. And as you continue, we'll even share with you the different sources that are available to you. Then you've got all these options, all these choices, and on top of that, you've got the knowledge to make better decisions for your business.
Mm.
And I think one of the other things as we talk about this is that it's not always just the business funding. There are many other ways in which businesses can get other funds. I know we've talked on our past sessions, we've talked about coupling down to make sure that as a business, you have some type of insurance, whether it's owners or business owners insurance, so that you can also use that customized policy to be able to pull cash out if or when the business needs some type of cash. And that type of funding or financing is a little bit different in that, yes, it's a policy. However, when you look at the cash component of that policy, you do not need to, they're not going to run your credit. You know, you don't need to have a stellar credit. You can pull funds from your policy as it is with most of the time between 24 48 hours they will fund your request. So there are different ways, and what we do is we like to sit down and understand each individual so that we know how best to guide you depending on where you are, what's possible for you at at that point in time as well.
Yeah, everybody's situation is going to be just a little bit different,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And you don't want to rush into this. I was having a conversation yesterday with an owner of a construction company, and he does a tremendous amount of revenue. And he went to apply for a loan with one of the national banks, and he got denied.
Yeah.
The thing about it is he doesn't know why he got denied. I don't know why he got denied. But one of the reasons why I could promise you he probably did get denied is because the information that the banks are using to determine how fundable he is, he doesn't have access to that information.
Yeah.
Right? So that's where the fundability platform comes in. And that's also why working with a funding specialist is critical, because the funding specialist will know, well, what is it that you need to have inside of your credit profile, because they know the criteria for approval with that financing source.
Mm-hmm.
I that make that when you say it and structure it in that manner, I believe it then makes a whole lot of sense, because now you're talking with someone who understands the process, right, better than you, right, who understands the
Yep.
process better than you and can bring different bits and pieces of information to the table that you hadn't yet thought about.
Yep.
That makes a whole lot of sense to me.
It does. It does. And I think a lot of times I've seen most people who come to us most of the time come because they were denied funding.
Hmm.
And I while I appreciate that, I also really want to start, you know, having these conversations with business owners before they even go and request for funding, right? Just so that, like I said earlier on, just so that we make sure that you have that sound foundation so that when banks look at your profile, they're not missing that information, because then it makes it easier on your behalf, because once you go in and you ask for funding and all these things have already been set and are already there, then you know that your chances of you getting approved tends to be a little bit higher. But anyway, we don't want to take too much time. I think what we really wanted to share with you today largely is just that be consistent and very intentional on what you do for your business to make sure that one, you are consistent with the processes or with the tasks that need to be done to generate that income that your business does. Be consistent in making sure that you stand true to your obligations, whether it's paying bills, whether it's um, having networking sessions to continue to advertise or market yourself as a business. Be consistent and be very intentional. I don't know if there's anything else, Lee, that you want to add on as we wrap up this session.
No, I think that we have captured it all. What we're trying to do here is we're trying to give everyone what they need in short doses, right? We don't want to come over here and lecture.
Mhm.
We want to come over here and share so that everyone can see what's going on in short doses. And then we can go from there. That's the whole purpose of why we're doing what we're doing today.
Definitely. And if you are there as a business owner and you want to share your story, whether you want to share how you started your business, the challenges that you faced and how you overcame them, whether you want to just talk a little bit about your business, your passion, what you're doing, we always want to have those conversations with other business owners. We believe that as a community, we'll grow together, and part of growing together is being in a position where we're able to support each other. So, if you are interested and you want to come onto this show and have those conversations, please do reach out to us. Let us know. We'll schedule time so that you can have time to be with us on another wonderful winning Wednesday. Besides that, we can wrap it up and we will see you all next week.
I forgot that that's what we were calling it.
Okay.
So
And then,
thanks
of
for the
course,
reminder.
and then, of course, lastly, if you if you would like to get in touch with us, I think did you put up the oh yeah, the email address is there. There's the email address, there's the number, there's the Facebook page. There's several ways in which you can really reach out to us. And for those of you, as I mentioned when we started the session, for those of you who have sent in questions, I have responded to most of those questions. If for whatever reason I may have missed your question, please do send in those questions that you may have. Would like to connect and see how best we can serve you. All right?
So you had questions that came in because I didn't see any that did come in, but maybe we just spend a little bit of time. I put it up, ask questions inside of the chat just to see if anybody has any questions, and we would be able to address those just the same. But I didn't see anything come in. Did you?
No, we don't
Okay.
have any questions today. All the other questions that came from last week and through emails, those have been responded to. So if
Oh,
there's
awesome.
anything that we may have missed, yeah, you can always put something in the chat, or if you prefer just to send it via email, that also works, and we'll answer that and get back to you.
Yeah, and now I'm going to be I might have to change the image of my camera because I want to share with my new shirts, t-shirts that I'm going to be wearing. So this one is House Hustler just because, we built our business in the real estate space, and we're going to continue to grow it. So every week for at least a couple of weeks you're probably going to see a different t-shirt coming on. But
Mm.
yeah, we're at the bottom of the hour. We want to thank everybody for being a part of our community, and we want to continue to help it grow. Hopefully, what we are sharing is valuable content to you, and let's go from there. So we'll see you next Wednesday for another wonderful winning Wednesday. Be safe until then. Let's talk soon.